Hello guys and welcome to this explanation session about your project Natural Language Processing. In this session I'm going to do a brief explanation about the word embedding and the evaluation matrix. Okay, so what is a neural or a natural language processing? Is the domain where researchers try to teach computers human language. Okay, so the computer can't really understand words, so we need to define some methods or some models in which we can make the computer to understand documents or words, etc. Okay, so what is word embedding? Word embedding is transformation of the human language and a vector representation of the word. Okay, so it's not just a vector representation like one-hot encoding, but it also tries to capture the context of a word in a document, semantic and syntactic similarity, the relationship with other words, etc. Okay, so what are the problems of the natural language processing? So there are many problems that the word embedding or the neural language processing resolve is, for example, the text classification in which we should or we try to classify texts, okay, language modeling, speech recognition, machine translation, document summarization, etc. Okay, so for all these applications, word embedding aims to encode words in a metric form so we can apply mathematical rules and do matrix operation to them. Okay, so now let's take a brief look into some methods of the word embedding. Okay, so the one of the most basic ways we can numerically represent words is through the one-hot encoding. Okay, so the idea is super simple. We will create a vector that has as many dimensions as your corpora has unique words. Okay, so we will have the number or the dimension is my unique word in my text or document, and each unique word has a unique dimension and it will be represented by 1 in that dimension and with zeros everywhere else. Okay, so for this word, I'm going to have, or it's going to be presented with this vector with 1 at the first column because it represents Rome and 0 everywhere else. Okay, for Italy, it's going to be in the third column because the third column will represent Italy. So this method is not a very good one because in one hand we will have as final result a very sparse matrix. Okay, so it's going to be huge vectors that will represent the words or the text. Okay, and it's not a very good solution. Other than that, we have these methods can't capture the relationship between words or can't capture the context of a word or the semantic relationship informations. Okay, so this solution is not that used. Let's see another solution. So another solution will be TF-IDF transformer. Okay, so this one will try to represent word by their term frequency multiplied by their inverse document frequency. Okay, so words that occur a lot but everywhere should be giving very little weighting or significations. However, if a word appears very little, it will have, let's say, the probability will be more important and should be weighted as such. Okay, so this is the formula of the TF-IDF. Okay, so we have here the TF term and here the IDF term. So the term x within the document y is equals to the frequency of x in that document times the logarithm of the total number of documents divided by the number of documents containing that x. Okay, so this information will capture the frequency of the word occurring in one document. Okay, so this is another solution to do it, but let's say that the most popular technique to learn word embedding is Word2Vec. Okay, so Word2Vec is developed by Thomas in 2013 at Google. It uses the small neural network, so this method will use the neural network to calculate word embedding based on word context. Okay, so there are two approaches to implement this technique. The first one is the continuous bag of words, or SIBO, and the second one is the skip-GRAIM. Okay, so both of these methods will use the neural networks. Okay, so in SIBO, the network tries to predict which word is most likely giving its context. Okay, so giving the context, we are going to try to predict the word at the middle. Okay, while skip-GRAIM is going to do the opposite thing. It uses the target word to predict its context. Okay, so let's explain this more. So here in SIBO, giving context, we will sum the vectors and we will predict the words that exist in the middle of this, let's say, paragraph or text, okay, or context. Okay, so here it's like trying to capture all the informations from this context represented as a vector here, okay, and then try to predict the output as the word missing. Okay, so here if you notice, it's like an autoencoder. Okay, so there are a bit difference between this and an autoencoder in more details, but in generally it's like trying to reduce the dimensionality of this input. Okay. Okay, so this is for the SIBO. For the skip-GRAIM, it's like doing the other way around. So we have or giving words in the middle, we are trying to predict all the words around. Okay, so both of these methods are using the neural networks. Okay, so as I said, the Word2Vec is considered one of the most popular techniques to learn word embedding using the neural network. Okay, so let's see another technique to do this. 1 year later, researchers of Stanford published GloVe. Okay, so GloVe is a modification of Word2Vec. It's a bit more efficient because Word2Vec learns embeddings by relating target word to their context. Okay, however, it ignores whether some context word appear more than one time. Okay, so in this context, the GloVe stresses that the frequency of co-occurrence is vital information. So GloVe won't ignore this frequency of words, so it will find a way to predict surrounding words by maximizing the probability of a context word occurring, giving a center word by performing a dynamic logistic regression. Okay, so there are many details behind this, but in generally it will capture the frequency of word occurring. Okay, in giving center words. On the other hand, compared to Word2Vec, GloVe allows for parallel implementation. Okay, so that means that it will be easier to train over more data. Okay, so this is another point why GloVe is now more efficient than Word2Vec. On another hand, GloVe will combines the benefits of the skip-GRAIM model in the Word2Vec with those of matrix factorization methods exploiting global statistical information. Now is Facebook's turn. So Facebook has released in 2016 the fast text model. Okay, so the idea is very similar to Word2Vec, but goes one level deeper. In fact, this fast text is going to overcome the problem of the generalization to unknown words. Okay, so the deeper level consists of part of words and characters. So how does it work? In fact, what fast text did was to incorporate subwords. Okay, so not as the Word2Vec, it's not going to consider just a word, but it's going to consider the subword information. Okay, so it's going to split all words into a bag of n-gram characters and will add them together to create a whole word as a final feature. Okay, so this is the generalization. It is possible as long as a new word have the same characters as a known one. Okay, so the thing that makes this really powerful is that it will allow to naturally support out of vocabulary words. Okay, so with fast text we have the less training data needed since much more information can be extracted from each piece of a text. Okay, so this is a powerful point of the fast text. Now let's do just sum up to these three algorithms or models. Okay, so as we said, Word2Vec will take text as training data for a neural network. The resulting embedding captures whether words appear in similar context or not. On the other hand, GloVe will focus on words co-occurrence over the whole corpus. Okay, so its embeddings relate to the probabilities that two words appears together. Okay, and finally, the fast text will improve on Word2Vec by taking word parts into account. Okay, so it will split the words. This trick enables training of embedding on a smaller dataset and generalization to unknown words. Okay, now the final models that we will see is the ELMO. So ELMO is published in 2018. So ELMO here will focus on the problem of the polymorphous words. Okay, so the words that have different meaning should have or should be represented with the same vector. So ELMO word vectors successfully address this issue. So they successfully distinguish between these words, the words that have different meanings depends on the context. Okay, so ELMO uses the LSTM in their model, and they are for now the best way to do word embedding. Now let's move to the evaluation metrics. So how can we compare our output to the input if we are in the context of natural language processing? Okay, so one way to do this, one metric is the BLEU score. So it's the bilingual evaluation under study. So it's a score for comparing a candidate translation of a text to one or more references translations. Okay, so we have here we translate a phrase and we want to compare it to several more reference translations. Okay, so a perfect match results in the score is if the score is 1, whereas a perfect mismatch results if the score is 0. How the BLEU score works? The approach works by counting matching n-grams. I will define n-grams later in the candidate translation to n-grams in the reference text. Okay, so what is the n-grams? For example, if you have the original phrase is the quick brown fox jumps over, the unigram is by splitting this phrase or this original sentence into one word. Okay, so unigrams we will split it into words. Okay, bigram we will split it into 2 words. So we have the quick brown fox jumps over. Okay, trigram will be 3 words, split it over 3 words. You have those 3 words, then those 3 words, etc. Okay, so this is the n-grams. So n-grams, it's going to be over n words. Okay, so now with these n-grams, we are going to compare our output to the references that we have. Okay, so here I'm going through details because you need to code this from scratch. Okay, so I have to calculate my BLEU score, I need the n-gram precision. So the n-gram precision here, I'm using n as the n-gram. Okay, so if for example I have just 1 here, so I'm using the unigram, etc. Okay, so the formula will be this one. So I am going to do the summation over the n-gram that I have inside my output. Okay, and then I'm going to count clip my n-gram and my reference sentences divided by the summation of these n-gram of the count of n-gram in my sentence. Okay, so here an example. This is taken from the from Andrew NG video. So how to evaluate the machine translation. For example, I have the French sentence "Le chat est sur le tapis," and I want to translate this sentence. Okay, my first reference will be the cat is on the mat. My second one is going to be there is a cat on the mat. Okay, my machine translation output is going to be this one. Okay, so how can I calculate my precision, my n-gram precision? In fact, I'm going first of all to split my output into, for example, here if I have the unigram, I'm going to split it into each word is an element of my list. Okay, so I construct this list here. Okay, so this count n-gram will calculate my n-gram, which is going to be 7. Okay, and then my count clip of the term, let's start with the first term. Okay, so here we have a summation over the n-gram. So I have the first one, the. I'm going to calculate how many the in this sentence and how many the in this sentence, and I'm going to take the maximum. Okay, so here we have 2 the here, so I'm going to take this 2. And since it is a count clip and I have just this word, just the word the, so I have only 2 here. Okay, so I have to count only the distinct words. Okay, so this is my precision. My final precision will be 2 divided by 7. Okay, but this is not the blue score yet. The blue score must be multiplied with this brevity penalty that will penalize the 2 short translations. Okay, so it's going to be 1. It's going to be this formula if I have the length of my references is bigger than the length of my output, and 1 otherwise. Okay, so my blue score, the final formula of the blue score is going to be, it's going to be the brevity penalty times my precision. Okay, guys, now let's go to the cumulative n-gram blue score. In this one, I'm going to do the summation over all the n-grams. Okay, this is the final formula. It's going to be my brevity penalty here with the same formula times the exponential of my summation over these n-grams. Okay, times the weight. So here each n-gram will have weight times the logarithm applied to my precision. Okay, so here, guys, the final formula, but sometimes you can find this formula. So for here is the number of is n. Okay, so this formula is the same as this one if we have an even weights for all the n-gram. Okay, so if I have my Wn is equals to 1 divided by n, because all the n-gram have the same weight, so then I have this formula.